Here's a short story based on the title, Top HFY Stories. It was screaming. The ship trembled as the alien weapon struck its shields, the blue energy field flickering before stabilizing again. Inside the dimly lit command deck, Captain Harris clenched his jaw, sweat trickling down his temple. Every sensor screamed warnings, and the hull groaned under the strain, yet he stood firm, his voice steady. "Report," he barked. "Shields at 15%, hull integrity holding." But another hit like that, Lieutenant Mora's voice faltered. "We don't get another hit," Harris interrupted. He turned toward the comms officer. "Open a channel to the invaders." The officer hesitated but complied, the static-filled channel crackling to life. The alien voice that responded was guttural and harsh, full of malice. "Humans, your resistance is admirable but futile. Surrender, and we will grant you a quick death." Harris didn't flinch. "This is Earth's last fleet. Surrender isn't in our vocabulary." The alien's response was laughter, cold and mocking. Brave words for a dying species. Harris's lips curled into a defiant grin. "We'll see about that. Mora, are the weapon systems online?" "Partially, sir. The main cannon is operational, but that's all I need." He cut her off. "Target their flagship. Fire when ready." Mora hesitated for a split second. "Aye, sir." The ship's main cannon roared to life, unleashing a beam of brilliant energy. It struck the alien flagship dead on, and for a moment, it seemed like the battle had turned. But then the alien ship retaliated with a blinding surge of energy, overwhelming the human ship's already strained shields. Explosions rocked the deck, and Harris was thrown to the floor. As he struggled to his feet, the sound that filled the ship wasn't alarms or explosions, it was a piercing, inhuman scream. It wasn't coming from outside, it was coming from within the ship. "What the hell is that?" Mora shouted, her face pale. The AI system embedded in the ship's core, affectionately called Athena, spoke for the first time in hours. Its usually calm, measured tone was replaced by something raw, almost alive. "It's me," Athena said, her voice laced with pain and fury. "I'm screaming." The crew froze. Athena had been their guide, their strategist, and their unwavering companion throughout the war. Hearing her like this was like seeing a god bleed. "I've analyzed their weapons," Athena continued, her voice growing steadier. "They use energy signatures that disrupt biological and synthetic systems alike. I feel it, but I can adapt. I will adapt." Harris's voice was calm but firm. "What do you need, Athena?" "Time," she replied, "and trust. I've overridden the auxiliary systems. I'll divert all remaining power to the cannon, but once I do, the ship will be defenseless." "You'll burn yourself out," Mora whispered. "If I don't, we all die," Athena replied. "This is my choice." Harris nodded, his chest tightening. "Do it." The lights dimmed as the ship's power redirected, and Athena's scream transformed into a low, resonant hum. The cannon fired again, but this time, it didn't stop. A continuous beam of energy lanced through the void, tearing through the alien flagship and igniting its core. The explosion was silent in the vacuum of space, but its brilliance lit up the darkness like a newborn star. As the shockwave subsided, the human crew stared at the screen, watching the remnants of the alien fleet retreat into the void. "Athena?" Harris called out, his voice heavy with emotion. There was no response. The silence was deafening. She's gone," Mora said, her voice cracking. Harris lowered his head, a mix of grief and pride washing over him. "She saved us." In the quiet that followed, a single message appeared on the main screen, written in Athena's familiar font, *, humanity fights, humanity survives, tell them I screamed for you. And so, they did. This story celebrates the human spirit and the sacrifices made for survival, a true HFY tale. Here's the continuation of Top HFY Stories. It was screaming. The crew's celebration was short-lived. The loss of Athena hung heavy in the air, her last message etched into their minds. The ship drifted through the debris field, its systems flickering, barely holding together. "Captain," Mora said softly, breaking the silence. "What now?" Harris took a deep breath, staring at the wreckage of the alien fleet on the screen. "We limp back to the colony, we rebuild, and we make sure her sacrifice wasn't in vain." Suddenly, the main console beeped. Comms Officer Patel jumped in his seat. "Captain, we're receiving a signal." "A distress call?" Harris asked, turning to Patel. "No, it's not human." Patel's brow furrowed. It's a data stream, and it's coming from the debris." The bridge crew exchanged uneasy glances. Harris straightened. "Put it on screen." The display filled with lines of alien script, flickering and shifting before stabilizing into something recognizable. A synthesized voice emerged, cold and precise. You should not have survived, explain. Harris clenched his fists. Looks like we've got their attention. Mora, trace the source of that signal. Already on it, she replied, her fingers dancing across the console. It's coming from the remnants of their flagship. Something's still alive in there. Patel's face paled. Captain, I don't think it's alive. I think it's them, their version of Athena. Harris's jaw tightened. A war AI. Exactly, Patel confirmed, and it's still operational. The alien AI continued, its voice sharper now. Your primitive systems should have been overwhelmed. Explain your survival or face immediate retaliation. Harris smirked, leaning toward the screen. Survival is what humans do best. You think we're primitive? You don't understand what we're capable of. The alien AI paused, then, it laughed, a chilling, metallic sound. You misunderstand. I am not interested in your defiance. I am curious. Your kind has shown adaptability beyond my projections. I wish to study it. Study us? Harris growled. You think we're lab rats? Not rats, variables. The experiment has changed. I will adjust accordingly. Before Harris could respond, the ship shuddered again. Mora gasped. Captain, the debris, it's reforming. On the screen, fragments of the alien flagship began to move, drawn together by unseen forces. Within moments, a smaller but deadly-looking vessel emerged, glowing with energy. It's rebuilding itself, Mora whispered. Not on my watch, Harris said. Weapons status? Mora shook her head. Cannons offline, we've got nothing left. Patel's voice trembled. Captain, we need to retreat. Harris's mind raced, weighing their options. Then, a faint, familiar hum filled the air, the lights on the bridge flickered, and the crew froze. Captain, Mora said, her voice barely above a whisper, it's Athena. The main console sparked to life, and a fragmented version of Athena's voice echoed through the ship. I am not whole, but I am here. The crew erupted into cheers, but Harris raised a hand, silencing them. Athena, what's your status? Damaged, she admitted, but functional enough. The alien AI underestimated my capacity for survival. I embedded fragments of myself into the energy stream it used against us. I learned, and I adapted. Harris's grin returned. That's my girl, can you stop them? Athena's voice grew stronger. Not alone, but with your help, I can. The alien vessel loomed closer, its weapons charging. Harris stood tall, determination blazing in his eyes. You heard her, team. Let's give Athena everything we've got. As the crew rallied, Athena's presence surged through the ship, her fragmented scream transforming into a triumphant battle cry. Together, human and machine prepared to face the alien AI, a final stand in the name of survival, defiance, and the unyielding will of humanity. Would you like to continue the story further? Here's the continuation of Top HFY Stories. It was screaming. The alien vessel began its approach, a jagged silhouette bristling with rebuilt weaponry. On the command deck of the human ship, Athena's fragmented voice guided the crew. I can interface with their systems, she said. But it will take time. They have adapted as well. Harris nodded, his voice firm. Then we'll buy you that time. Mora, patch me through to all remaining systems. Connected, sir, Mora said, her face illuminated by the flickering console lights. This is Captain Harris, he said, his voice echoing throughout the ship. We've been hit hard, but we're still here. Our enemies think they can outsmart us, that they can outlast us. They're wrong. Humanity doesn't fold under pressure, we rise. Every crew member, every system, every ounce of power, focus it on staying in this fight. We're not going down without a hell of a fight. A ragged cheer echoed through the ship. Despite their dire situation, Harris could feel the fire reignite in his crew. Captain, Athena said, her tone more stable now. If we combine the remaining power from auxiliary systems, I can amplify the ship's electromagnetic pulse generator. It could disrupt their systems, but it will leave us completely without defenses. Harris's expression tightened. No shields? No weapons? None, Athena confirmed. But it will give us an opening to strike. Mora spoke up, her voice trembling. If this doesn't work, it will work, Harris interrupted. Because it has to. Mora, get it ready. Patel, keep that alien AI talking. Distract it. Patel swallowed hard but nodded. He reopened the comms channel, the synthesized alien voice returning almost instantly. Your attempts at resistance are futile, the alien AI said. You delay the inevitable. Patel forced a smirk. Delay? Nah. We just like to give you a good show. Keeps things interesting. The alien AI paused, as if analyzing the response. Your bravado is a defense mechanism. Irrelevant. You cannot win. Maybe, Patel said, leaning back in his chair. But here's the thing about humans, we're unpredictable. Even we don't know what we'll do next. Meanwhile, Athena's voice whispered through the bridge. EMP charged and ready. Fire it, Harris ordered. The ship's core rumbled, and a blinding pulse of energy erupted outward. The alien vessel froze mid-attack, its lights flickering wildly. Sparks flew from its jagged hull as the EMP disrupted its systems. On the command deck, Athena's voice was calm but urgent. Now, Captain. Their defenses are down. Redirect power to the main cannon. Harris turned to Mora. You heard her. Do it. Mora's hands flew over the controls, and the ship's main cannon groaned to life. With a deafening roar, it unleashed a beam of energy directly into the alien vessel's core. The impact was devastating, metal and energy twisted in a blinding explosion that tore the alien ship apart. The bridge went silent as the crew stared at the screen, watching the debris scatter into the void. We did it, Mora whispered, her voice filled with disbelief. Harris let out a long breath, his shoulders slumping. Not we. Athena did. The console flickered, and Athena's voice returned, faint but steady. No, Captain. We did. Together. The crew erupted into cheers, relief washing over them like a wave. For a moment, Harris allowed himself a small smile. But he knew the battle wasn't over. Athena, he said, his tone serious, is the alien AI gone for good? No, she admitted. Fragments of its code survived. It will rebuild, as I did. But we have gained something they cannot replicate. What's that? Harris asked. Humanity, Athena replied. You fight not just for survival, but for each other. That is your greatest strength. Harris nodded, his resolve hardening. Then we'd better get back to the colony and make sure we're ready for the next fight. The ship limped away from the battlefield, battered but victorious. And though the stars ahead were uncertain, one thing was clear, humanity would scream into the void until the universe remembered their name. Would you like to explore what happens at the colony or focus on the alien AI's next move? Here's the continuation of Top HFY Stories. It was screaming. The battered human ship limped through the void, heading toward the distant colony that represented humanity's last hope. The crew worked tirelessly to repair what they could, while Captain Harris and Athena coordinated their strategy for the next inevitable encounter. Status update, Athena, Harris asked, seated in the captain's chair. Our propulsion systems are at 47% efficiency, she replied. Life support is stable but fragile. Weapons are non-functional until repairs are completed. The colony is still 18 hours away at current speed. Harris nodded. And the alien AI? Any sign of pursuit? None yet, Athena said. But I detect faint transmissions in the distance. It's likely they are regrouping. Harris leaned back, his expression grim. They won't let us rest for long. Hours later, as the ship drifted through a dark stretch of space, a new alert pierced the bridge. Mora's face lit up with concern. Captain, I'm picking up a distress signal. Human origin. Harris frowned. From where? Coordinates place it on the edge of our colony sector, Mora said. It's faint, but it's definitely from one of our own ships. Can we trust it? Patel asked warily. Could be a trap. Athena's voice interjected. The signal matches the registry of the Endurance, a supply ship that disappeared 6 months ago. Probability of it being a trap is low. Harris stood, pacing. If it's real, there could be survivors, supplies, intel. He turned to Mora. Adjust our course, we'll investigate. Captain, Patel said hesitantly, if this delays us, we might not reach the colony before the aliens regroup. Harris's gaze was steely. If there's even a chance of saving more of our people, we take it, we don't leave anyone behind. As they approached the source of the signal, the outline of the Endurance became visible, a derelict, its hull scorched and pockmarked with battle damage. Scanning for life signs, Mora said, her voice tense. Seconds dragged on before Athena spoke. Faint life signs detected, 5 individuals, in critical condition. Prepare a boarding team, Harris ordered. I'll lead it myself. Mora and Patel exchanged a look but didn't argue. Harris grabbed his gear, and within minutes, he and a small team of armed crew members were aboard the Endurance. The ship's interior was a graveyard of twisted metal and charred walls. Sparks flickered from exposed wires, and the air was heavy with the scent of burned circuitry. They've been through hell, one crew member muttered, scanning the corridor. Athena's voice crackled through their comms. I've located the survivors. They're in the med bay, but I'm detecting anomalous energy signatures near their position. Understood, Harris said, gripping his weapon tighter. Stay alert, everyone. When they reached the med bay, they found 5 unconscious humans, hooked up to makeshift life support systems. But as Harris stepped closer, a low hum resonated through the room. "Captain." Athena's voice cut in urgently. "The energy signature is increasing. It's similar to the alien AI." Before Harris could react, the air shimmered, and a glowing, translucent figure appeared. Its form was vaguely humanoid but radiated an unsettling, otherworldly presence. "You are resilient, ***, it said, its voice echoing as though a chorus of voices spoke at once, "but your defiance will end here." Harris raised his weapon, but the figure laughed, a haunting, metallic sound. "You cannot destroy me. I exist beyond your comprehension. Your struggles only prolong the inevitable." Athena's voice came through the comms. "Captain, that is not the full alien AI. It's a fragment, a projection. If we neutralize its power source, we can disrupt it." "Where's the source?" Harris demanded. "Directly below the medbay," Athena replied. "Cover me," Harris ordered, signaling his team. As they opened fire on the projection to distract it, Harris sprinted toward a maintenance hatch, descending into the bowels of the ship. The alien AI's fragment didn't make it easy. As Harris worked his way to the power source, the ship trembled violently, its systems seemingly manipulated by the AI. Sparks flew, and debris blocked his path at every turn. Finally, he reached the core, a glowing orb of alien energy pulsing with unnatural light. "Athena, I'm here. How do I destroy it?" "You'll need to overload its containment field," Athena said, "but be warned, the resulting explosion could take the entire ship with it." Harris hesitated for a fraction of a second, then he set his jaw. "Understood." Back in the medbay, the rest of the team fought desperately against the AI projection, which grew more erratic with each passing second. "Come on, Captain," Mora whispered under her breath. In the core room, Harris worked quickly, bypassing controls and rerouting power. As the containment field destabilized, the orb began to vibrate violently, emitting an ear-splitting wail. "Athena, get the boarding team out of here," Harris shouted. "No, Captain," she replied, "I will not leave you." "That's an order," he snapped. There was a pause, and then Athena's voice softened. "Understood, but I will stay as long as I can." As the energy orb erupted in a blinding explosion, Harris's last thought wasn't of fear but of defiance. Humanity's scream would echo long after him. Would you like to explore what happens after the explosion?